Ependymoma. Okay, first I'm going to talk about a very touchy subject about my son Malachi. He had a brain tumor called ependymoma. Ependymoma is a disease in which cancer cells form in tissues of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain controls vital functions such as your memory and learning, emotions and senses, hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch. The spinal cord is made up of bundles of nerve fibers that connect the brain with nerves in most parts of the body. There are different types of ependymomas. One of them is called subependymoma, which is grade 1. And we'll talk about the grades in just a few. Myopapillary ependymoma, which is grade 1. Ependymoma, which is grade 2. And anaplastic ependymoma, which is grade 3. The grade of a tumor describes how abnormal the cancer cells look under a microscope and how quickly the tumor is likely to grow and spread. Low grade, grade 1 cancer cells look more like normal cells and tend to grow and spread more slowly than high grade, grade 3 cancer cells. The cause of most childhood brain tumors is unknown. The signs and symptoms of childhood ependymoma depend on the child's age and where the tumor is found. Malachi's tumor was found on the back right occipital lobe, which is your right side back here on the back of your head, which is your occipital lobe. And he had signs and symptoms like frequent headaches, nausea and vomiting, trouble with his balance, weakness in his legs, blurred vision. There are tests that examine the brain and spinal cords to find childhood ependymomas. You have your physical exam and history, where your doctor just goes over, do a full body exam. And then you have your neurological exam, which they do testing to find out whether or not you have something neurological going on in the brain. And then there's like MRIs, which is a procedure that takes detailed pictures of the brain. And then you have a lumbar puncture, which is a procedure used to collect fluid from the brain. The part of the brain that is affected depends on where the ependymoma forms. Ependymomas can form anywhere in the fluid-filled ventricles and passageways in the brain and spinal cord. Most ependymomas form in the fourth ventricle and affect the cerebrum or the cerebellum and in the brain and the brainstem. Once an ependymoma forms, areas of the brain that may be affected, including, now I have a picture here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can get this focused right. You have your cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain. The cerebrum, which controls your thinking, your learning, problem solving, speech, your emotions, reading, writing, and your voluntary movement. Then you have the cerebellum, which is located here. Cerebellum, which is located here, is near the middle of the back of your head, which controls your movement, your balance, and your posture. Then you have the brain stem, which is right here. That's your brain stem, which has your pons and your medullum right there. And that affects your or controls your breathing, your heart rate, and your nerves and muscles, which is used in seeing, hearing, walking, talking, and eating. Then you have the spinal cord. The spinal cord is there, it's here. And the spinal cord, it covers the three thin layers of tissue called your membrane. Now, childhood ependymoma is diagnosed and removed in surgery. Once it's removed, a pathologist reviews the tissue under a microscope to look for cancer cells. Certain factors affect prognosis and treatment options, where it is formed, where there are changes in the genes and the chromosomes, whether any cancer cells remain after surgery, the type of ependymoma, the age of the child, where the cancer cells spread to other parts of the brain, and whether tumors has just been diagnosed or have come back. Prognosis also depends on the type and dosage of radiation therapy. There are 4 types of treatments. You have surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, observation, and new clinical trials. Treatment involves many specialists such as, Malachi had a neurosurgeon, he had a radiation doctor, he had an oncologist, a ophthalmologist, a radiologist, psychologist, a pediatrician, a family doctor, which was his primary care doctor, who basically did his exam. And Malachi had his standard treatments were he saw his primary care doctor. Then he had a MRI, where we found they were the ones that found the tumor. Then he had surgery. Then he had to have another MRI. Then he had radiation, which consisted of 33 treatments of radiation therapy. And then he had chemotherapy, which was for 12 weeks of treatment that included 4 big rounds. Excuse me. And then he had observation. To learn more about brain tumors and ependymoma, you can go to the Brain Tumor Foundation for Children, and you can go to the page at www.braintumorkids.org to find out more information about brain tumors. I have some pictures here that I wanted to show you, and I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me adjust this. This is Malachi. I wanted to show you a picture of, let me see if I can adjust this. This is him before surgery. And this is him when he came out of surgery. He has a lot of fluid on him right after surgery because of all the air that got in him. His head was a little bit larger. This is basically our family, part of our family. Sorry, but that was Malachi. Now, This is a mask. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is a mask that Malachi used during radiation. He had to go in and be fitted for this mask. And when he had radiation, they had to put him on here, put this mask on him, and then they would give him radiation treatments through this mask. And they got the markings on here of every time that they shoot him. This mask protected him, but they would trying to get this so you can see it. But if we go to the back of the head, this is the back, and right here in this section on the right side, they would shoot in the back to get his radiations to the certain spots back there. Princess, can you go get Malachi? I want them to see the back of Malachi's head and where they did the radiation. Hurry. I had my daughter to go and get Malachi so that you all could see where they would aim the radiation to that certain spot of his head, and where they were aiming to kill all the cancer cells that were left in his head after the surgery. Come here, baby. Let me get this adjusted. Come here. This is Malachi. Say hi, Malachi.
Hey.
Now turn around in the back. I want them to see some. Scoot down. Oh, we can't see it. Come up just a little bit more. Right here. Scoot down, baby. Now hold your head up. Right here in the back of his head. I'm trying to make sure I get so you all can see it. See where the spot is bald? That's where his mask will go on his head. Like this. Turn around so they can see. That's his mask, and they fit his face. Then turn back around. Scoot back down just a little bit. His mask would be on his head, and the machine, radiation would shoot back to that bald section of his head so that it could kill all the cells that were left in his brain. Okay, hold it. Turn around. So it would kill all the cells that was left in his brain. But right now, Malachi is, tell them what you are.
Cancer-free.
He is cancer-free, and we are just thankful that our baby is cancer-free. He's doing really well. He has some psychological things going on, but we are just praising God that he is healthy. He's doing great, and I just wanted you all to know our story and his journey. So this is Malachi. I am his mom, Wendy Lindley, and this is my project that I have done on Malachi and his ependymoma. So thank you, and have a blessed night.